Hey guys, okay, here we go. We're going to talk about something that you guys tell me that you struggle with on a regular basis, and that's the fear of death, right? And that's thanatophobia, and it is a legitimate phobia. And it can be debilitating. I've had it before, like, where it creeps up, and I think that comes from some of the trauma that I went through with my mom when she passed and all of those things, but more so self-death. This little video is for people who have fear of their own death, not necessarily fear of loved ones. So the thanatophobia is the fear of death, and it is an ego integrity. Literally, you have to have ego integrity in order to accept it. But the reality is this, okay? Whether you want to accept it or you don't want to accept it, it's irrelevant because it's going to happen. Like, seriously, you're not outrunning it. Like, you can prolong it, you can eat healthy, you can do those things. It's not changing it, right? So there's a level of acceptance there. And so there's some things that you can do. Okay, I'm not saying it's going to fix it, but number one, you got to be mindful. You got to stay in the present space. You have to stay here. You're not guaranteed tomorrow. Yesterday's gone. You only got right now. Okay, so you have to stay in a space of presence and mindfulness. Be intentional. Stop looking so far ahead on the things that could happen. We're here today. We're here right now. All right, so you want to start that. I'm going to do a whole big podcast on black and white thinking and various things like that, which automatically comes over here to YouTube. But there's that. Number two, it's prepare for it, right? What do you want done? Do you want to be buried? Do you want to have an aquapod, which is a kind of a cool thing? Like, an aquapod is like, you can go like into the water. It's like a way of like changing you. And I don't know if you've seen the ones where you can like be buried as a tree, you know what I mean? Like, you can be in this like pod. And so it's being honest with what you want. You avoiding it is not going to change the fact, right? This isn't like, am I going to take this job, right? That's a choice that you get to make. You don't have a choice here, but you do have a choice on what you want done, all right? So don't make it such a taboo thing to talk about, because when you fear talking about death, then you're left with like, people are like, I don't know what they wanted, or they didn't want to talk about it. So you want to be careful of pretending as though it doesn't exist, because it will come. Okay, and also, if you're looking so much of when is that going to come, you're not living today, right? That's why the mindfulness is going to be the biggest part of this. And then also, look at the things that are in your control, which is going to be you. You're not in control of anything else, but you're in control of if you're going to have breakfast. You're in control of certain things, right? Focus inward there, right? Because, again, whether you like it or not, it's going to happen. All right, and I really need you to get clear on it and accepting it from the place of it doesn't have to be done today. And one of the biggest things, you've probably heard people say this all the time, is live today as though it was your last. Live every day as though it was your last one. And there's so much truth to that, right? You have to live your life as though this is it. This is all you got. So when you keep waiting to make changes and you keep waiting to be ready, and you keep waiting for motivation, you're waiting for time that you may never have. You're not guaranteed that time, and you don't have to like it. It can cause anxiety, but the reality is you can't run from it. So you got to stop running from it, right? So when you're in that space and you start feeling the fear, right? Because that will inadvertently happen, especially if you have it as a phobia and like that's all you can think about. That's where you have to sit in the present space, and you have to get to the space. And there's no magic button here, and there's no magic pill, but you have to accept that it's inevitable. You're not outrunning it. It's not happening, and you don't have to like it. It's probably one of my hardest struggles has been the acceptance of it. But when you get on the other side of the acceptance, and of course, like, I'm 50, so you think, okay, if I live another 50 years, that's great. Is it probable? No. And so, it's tough because it comes with control. And then it's getting alignment into what you believe spiritually, okay? Not to be confused with religion, just spiritually. What do you align with? Do you believe in God? Do you believe in something else? What do you believe? Because you can't say you believe in whatever it is that you believe in and then, like, be scared of it. Because if you got to get really resolved into what it is that you believe spiritually, right? So when you're in that space and you're in that headspace, it's going to be one of the best things that you can actually do for yourself. And the reason being is because then you start living your life intentionally. You start doing things intentionally. You're not just shopping online 84 hours a day. Cut that to like 60. I'm not asking you not to shop on there. It's a good thing. But allowing yourself to look at the things that matter the most to you, like going out for a walk, going out in the sun, in the moon, in the rain. It doesn't matter. Like the things that you take for granted is what I want you to start like getting comfortable with and loving. And like I said, I'm going to talk to you this week. My podcast comes up every Sunday at 7 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. But I'm going to talk to you about black and white thinking, because that's going to get you in trouble too, right? That's going to give you that all or nothing. And yeah, no, that's not a way to live. And it's going to really be damaging for you. And especially when it comes to this whole death situation, right? You know, you think all or nothing, like, okay, what do I need to do? But seriously, like, do you have your paperwork in order? Do you have a will? What do you want done with yourself? I know it can be triggering, but you gotta like face it. And then this way, there's a little bit more control that you feel, and you want to get comfortable with it, right? I know sometimes in exposure I've had, depending on where you are in the country or in the world, I will get in alignment with like a mortuary or something where you will go lay in a coffin. And I know some of you are like, oh my God, I can never. Okay, one day you will be, unless you're getting cremated. And so it's getting yourself comfortable in that space and not letting that anxiety kick in for you. So it's just a little bit on it. I promise we'll do a whole podcast on it. But let me know in the comments under here what you struggle with death. And because again, it's if you struggle with not accepting it, it's fine, but it's going to happen. So it's really working in that area. So, but as for today, you're here now. You're living now. So stop putting your life on hold and stop putting yourself on a shelf and start actually living. Okay? Talk to you tomorrow.